Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time. If you are joining me for the first time, my name is MAP Ezioku Bundo 1 in Biafra land. And I say, Mechuko Kikabia Moye Primi Henine, guide and protect you all wherever you are. I have come this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, depending on your time zone, to preach the gospel truth, the awakening of Africans. And today, we will be taking on why Africans are living in bondage, episode 3, and what Africans need to know to be free. This morning or this afternoon, this evening, we will be taking it bit by bit. And before I proceed, I must salute the leadership of IPOB, and I have message for the IPOB leadership. Then after the message, I will continue. I know a lot of them are listening to me. And my message to them is they have done a lot. I thank them for what they have done and also thank them for what they are doing. And also I want to remind them that we, the media warriors, need to know some certain things. We need to be carried along. We need to be carried along. There are some certain things you need to inform every IPOB media warrior to know, which I want you people to pass this message to them. I know some of you will say, Maz, why are you saying it here? There is a channel, you channel it. It have been channeled more than 20 times and no response. So that is why I have to say it here. And that is not an attack. It's for them to know that media warriors need to be carried along in some certain things that they need to know. Every media warriors need to be carried along, need to be informed some certain things, and keeping them on a blackout. It's not something that is good, and that is the only message I have for them. So we move. Today, I'll be discussing on issue why Africans are living in bondage, episode 3, and what African youths need to do. I made a mistake in that headline, but I will correct it later. Now, my message is no longer centered on Biafra alone. My message is my broadcasts have metamorphosed from only Biafran and Igbo to the whole Africa. So when I am speaking on behalf of the African race, on behalf of the African continent, on behalf of a black race, because I have seen that the freedom of Biafra has to do with the freedom of the entire Africa. Biafra cannot get their independence without the Africans waking up. And I am using this opportunity to call people like Julius Malame and the other prominent African leaders who are aware that there is one of them that is being held captive in DSS dungeon in Nigeria. There is one of you in the person of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu who is under the captivity in the zoo called Nigeria. And I think that it is time for every African leader who love freedom, who hate injustice, it is time for you people to start speaking up for the leader of indigenous people of Biafra and every other leaders being held under captive in different countries in Africa. That will help you people to achieve what you want to achieve. Because when you say you are fighting for freedom, you are fighting for humanity. You cannot be silent on issue that has to do with great people like the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, the leader of the Amazonians, and the other peoples. You need to rise up for them. You need to rise up for them in order for the world to know, yes, you are truly fighting for humanity. There is no way you can say you are fighting for human rights and you people are keeping silent over the issues concerning Biafra referendum, over the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I am using this opportunity to call person like Julius Malame of South Africa to rise up to call for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is on the same course with him. I am using the opportunity to call on Ibrahim Traore and the rest of you to rise up for the freedom of Biafra, and that will help for the African liberation to have a new dimension. Now, that is my message for them. Let us go to the reasons why Africans are living in bondage and what the Africans need to know for them to be free. These are the two things I will discuss today. Remember, the first episode was I discussed about NATO missions and the BRICS and the reasons why they are trying to use African as a battleground. We have discussed about the evil Christianities, how they put fear on us, and I challenge them for many things for them to answer this. KE family, greetings from here. David Chukwuemeka, I greet you. I salute you, all of you. Vincent Emeka Chima, Ndewo. Now, again today, I will be discussing about why Africans are living in bondage and what the youth of Africa need to know. Now, it is no longer news that Africans, most especially the Africans that are supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow, are dying in Mediterranean Sea in their numbers. A lot of them are dying, are being slaughtered in Mediterranean Sea because they are looking for greener pasture. It is no longer news that the crisis in Africa are being masterminded by the European continent, the Westerners, and the Americans. And you cannot be going for help, calling for help from those who are keeping you under captivities. You need to know your enemies and how to fight your enemies for you to be free. The moment you start doing this and they start asking questions, that is when you will realize. Like the video I released this morning, I know my page is under serious attack because I am hitting them where it is paining them. I don't have mercy. I don't mercy any person. I say it the way it is. If you love truth, you must follow me. If you hate truth, you are a hypocrite. My words will be boring and you will not like my words because the choice of my words is the raw truth. I want to be like Martin King Luther Jr. I want to be like Nelson Mandela. I want to be like Patrice Lumumba. Those that will look to the white people's eyes and tell them the truth without any fear of favor. Those who will see the truth and be able to say it regardless of who is involved. That is the life I want to live. And that's for you to live such life, you must kill fear first. You must not entertain fear. That is why I roll the way I am rolling. That is why I say things the way it is. Because I know by saying the truth, you must offend a lot of people. People will not like to share your video, but a time will come, people will start seeing meaning and seeing reasons in everything you are be doing. At a start, for now, I know a lot of people will not like it, but we must continue, whether they like it or not. if Facebook kick you out, try to find a way to come back, because they are kicking people out. You will be wondering, how do you left the page? No, stop wondering. The Facebook are the people taking you out. So what you need to do is to just type Biafra Unity. Then you will come back, or you type Mazi Achebe Paul, or you can also go to our YouTube Biafra Unity TV, or you go to Mazi Achebe Paul TV. You will get us on YouTube. We are also on TikTok at Mazip Map. We're also on Instagram, on Twitter also. So you can get this message with the same handle that I mentioned here all over the platform. Now let us go. The youth of Africans, we must know that the African military alone cannot save us from the suffering of our people. The military in Africa cannot liberate Africa. Yes, the military don't have the capacity to deliver us from the Westerners. Then, at this junction, the question every youth need to ask himself or herself this afternoon, this morning, this evening is, what are you doing to help the military to restore Africans, to give African an independent? Now, the question here is, who are the people putting us down? Who are the people making sure that we are being slaved? It is no longer news that the crisis in Africa are being caused by the Europeans and the Americans. It is no longer news that what the killings in Africa are being sponsored by the Europeans and the Americans. And the reasons why they are doing this is because of the natural resources that we are blessed with. The reason why they are killing us is because of what God have given to us. That is the reason why you see the killings and the natural resources being taken away for free of charge. I will play you a lot of video here to support my argument, and feel free to come in if you have your own idea to bring in. You can feel free. I will drop the link when the time comes, or when you requested for it, for you to also pass your own knowledge. Now, I am calling on African leaders, African youth. We must be able to identify those our politicians whom the West, the Europeans are using to come to put us down. Do you know that the white people treat us like animals? It is no longer news that a black African are being treated like a trash. It is no longer news that a black African are being disrespected, trampled upon, they take us for granted. It is no longer news that the African have become the center of poverty, which is a very wrong impression, because we have what it takes to be the richest continent in the world. But the people we are looking upon are putting us down. Now, I want to ask you this question. Do you think that what is happening in Africa today, if this thing is to be happening in Europe, do you think that the European youth will fold their hands and be watching? The answer is no. Do you think that what is happening in Africa today, do you think that if it happened in America, do you think that Americans youth will fold their hands and watch Africa and watch America being destroyed by another people entirely? The answer is no. Now, what do we need to do to rise up? I want every African youth to know that the West, the Americans, brought religion, both Islam and the Christian, to us in order to press us down, in order to make sure that we are below, we serve them. They use the religion mentality, telling us there is our reward in heaven, while they are building their own heaven on this earth, while they are living their own heaven on this earth. And they made you to believe that after you might live on this planet earth, there is a reward for you in somewhere else. There is no any other place for you. If you die, that place you left, you just left to come back to come to this earth, the same, that spot you will go back to. There is nothing like heaven and hell. These are the mentalities they use to put Africa under bondage. And they put fear on us. Now, I am calling on African youth. What do we need to do now? We need to come together. We need to rise up. African youth, we need to rise up. And we need to, I am calling on every military in Africa to start reasoning. How can you, as a military, as a soldier, as an army, you were trained to protect your people. You are trained to make sure that your country is competing with the world powers. You are trained to give your people a maximum protection, to give them lives, to protect the lives and properties, to make your country great, to make your country have respect for before every other country. And you are giving gun just somebody out of selfish interest and ask you and commanded you to go and start killing people that you sworn oath to protect for the interests of another man. How do you feel as a military slaughtering your own African black race? Have you seen American soldier killing American citizen because of Africa? The answer is no. Have you seen European soldiers, Italian soldiers killing Italian citizens because of Africa or because of America? The answer is no. Have you seen German soldier killing German citizens because of Africa or America or because of any other country? The answer is no. Have you seen French soldiers killing any French man because of Italy, to give Italy good life? The answer is no. You, as an African soldier, why are you now killing your own African brothers because of Western and because of America? Because you want to uphold the slavery. You want to become slavery for other people. That is why you, as a black soldier, a black African soldier, killing your fellow black citizen that you sworn an oath to protect. Are you not ashamed of yourself? And when your people now travel out to the same country that commanded you to kill your brothers, your people will be treated as a trash. Your people will be treated as a nothing. Your people will be treated like lower than animal. Do you know in America today, if you kill a dog, they will sentence you to life imprisonment. And if you kill a black African, they might sentence you for just 6 years imprisonment or 6 months. They regarded you as nothing. That is why I am calling on African youth. The hour for us to rise up and come together, most especially we that are residing in Europe, to come together to organize a very massive protest. To organize a very massive protest to say enough is enough. The Western colony must stop. What is the advantage of colonization in Africa? What is the benefit of these West people, these Europeans and Americans colonizing you? Do you have any benefit of their colony? The answer is no. Now, why are you protecting their evil interests against your own people? It is time for us to emancipate ourselves from this Western world. That is why I am calling you, as a Ghana citizens, as a Uganda, as a Liberia, as a Sierra Leone, as a Nigeria, as a Biafra, as Morocco, Tunis, Egypt, Algeria, Niger Republic, Mali, Guinea. All of you, we need to come together to identify the bad eggs, the evil leaders in Africa. We need to take them out. Chris Felix, I greet you. Afelele, greetings from here. Now, I want you to watch this video. Oh, no, just a minute. I will bring the video so that you will listen to it. Ask yourself this question. There is 1% of the evil politicians. We need to take these evil politicians out. And that is the reason. This is the reason why I am calling on the African soldiers. You people knows the evil politicians. Take them out. If it is possible, recycle them. These are the reasons why I tell you, the people, the masses need to revolt. Why we are doing this? If you are a military in Africa, you are a soldier man, we need to come together now. We must have a formidable movement now. I thought by now that there must be a movement that every Africans need to come together, and the motive should be let the Europeans and the Americans leave Africa. And before you join, everyone who is going to join this movement must agree with the terms and conditions, whereby why the military are taking over, we must be protesting for them to leave out. There must be an action we need to take. We cannot be only on social media be shouting we need freedom, let Europeans leave us alone, we want to take our resources back. No, it must be backed up with actions. We need to do something physically. And the moment the African youth realize that the power lies on us, at this age, check the Western country you are now. At their 20s, 30s, 40s, they have already made history. Now, I will bring this video so that when we will be listening to it, it will enable you to understand and to picture what I am saying. We must not allow ourselves to be used by the West and the North. Listen to this very vibrant young man.
None of you can deny that what I'm saying is the truth. You know it's the truth. But either you won't write it, or you're too cowardly to speak it because you want some favor here or favor there. So because you can't talk, you are muzzled. I'm not. I'm a free black man. And I didn't come here looking for a handout. And I really don't think you need one. Your problem is that you think you need a handout. Everything you need is right under your foot, but you're looking everywhere else for help instead of to yourself and what you can produce for yourself.
Did you hear that? The problem of Africa today is that Africans don't believe in themselves. Africans don't believe in what they have. Now, Africans believe that borrowing money from the China, borrowing money from NATO, borrowing money from European Union, borrowing money from United Nations, that is the only thing that they can offer. Meanwhile, Africa has what it takes for the NATO to come to Africa to borrow money. Africans have what it takes for European Union to come to Africa to borrow money. China is supposed to be coming to Africa to borrow money. But because we are selfish, we don't believe in ourselves. We don't know what we can offer. We don't know our capability. We don't know our capacity. We don't know what it is in us. We don't know what we are made of. We don't know the blessings that God have used to bless our land. Manuel W. Christian. Kogi State is not part of Biafra land, so your question have been answered. So stop dreaming. Unless during referendum Kogi choose to be part, then they can choose during referendum. But Kogi is not part of Biafra. Kogi is part of what middle belt. Okay. So I know where you are coming from. Now you can rest. Now, I want you to listen to this man. Africans are borrowing money from China. For what purpose? Africans are borrowing money for NATO. For what purpose? You as an African, you have uranium, which supplies, which you can use to create anything you want to create. You have gold. You have a diamond. You have, mention anything. You have oil. Anything that any continent need to be great. Africans have it. Ask yourself as an African, is it not the same oil and gold that Africa has, that Dubai has? Is it not the same thing? What of Qatar? What of Arab Emirates? These are the things you need to ask yourself. Now listen to this young man.
This is Africa's dilemma. You are parading yourself before the world as international beggars when you gave civil.
Do you hear it? You are parading yourselves as an international beggars. You are begging money from the EU and they're establishing NGO, charity organization in Africa. Ask yourself, the money they are giving you, where are they generating it from? Yes, Osuku, there will be part from 2024, not this at this moment. You know, you see it. You are presenting yourself as an international beggar. At this point, I want the African youth to rise up. You don't need to tell them to beg money from the Europe. The money that European people gave to you, they generate it from Africa. You can actually generate that money by yourself, by drawing boundary. And these things can be achieved by the African leaders. These things can achieve. We, the youth, need to tell our leaders what to do. We must not fold our hands and be waiting for 1% old man to be telling us, to be using us, selling us for 10 kobo. Things are not done like that. We fold our hands. How can you be presenting yourselves as international beggar? That is why when you go to France today, go to France, you will see how many Africans are there. They are suffering. They are the one doing the most dirtiest job, the job that France citizens cannot do. They are doing it. They are the ones dying in Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pasture. The Africans who cannot fight for themselves, we say we cannot fight for ourselves. We have the mind to come to Mediterranean Sea to die. Because our selfish leaders, our leaders that don't know themselves are the ones selling us kobo kobo. Why can't the African youth who have seen the truth rise up against the 1% leaders? We must take them out. The moment African youths rise up to take every African evil leaders out from our different countries, most especially Nigerians. I have said this before. Nigeria remains the one of the stumbling block for African success. In as far as that name, Nigeria, continue to exist as a country, Africa will be remaining in bondage. That is why I am calling people like Julius Malame. I am calling people like Ibrahim Traore. I am calling people like the president of Niger Republic to say Nigeria need to be divided into three. Let referendum took place in all the countries that need referendum in Africa. That will bring more peace. And everybody will be competing. That is the process we need to take to pursue the West and the American out of our land. But guess what? The leaders, we the youth, we are believing that we don't have the power to change the government. We believe that once a president is in power, then nobody have the right to chase him out. No. Because you don't know what the power you have in you. If you know the power you have in you, the youth have what it takes to chase the evil leaders out. We have the power. Now listen to this, our brother.
Civilization to the world. Your problem is not America. Your problem is not Israel. Your problem is not Britain. Your problem is your disunity and your dependence on others to do for you what you could do for yourself. So
you hear that? You are waiting for America to do for you what you can actually do for yourself. And they said that is why you cannot rise. He is telling, do you know the reason why he told you that your problem is not America? Your problem is not Britain. Your problem is not the Europe. Do you know the reason why this man said so? He says so because he knows that American cannot come to Africa without your leaders allowing them to come. You allowed the Americans to be controlling your leaders and your leaders to control you. That is why you are now living in bondage. If you rise up against the evil leaders you have, if you will chase them out, the America cannot see somebody to be used to put us down. The Europeans cannot see anyone to be used to put us down. Look at Tinubu at age of 80 to 90. He is now presiding what happened to over more than 200 million population in Nigeria, and also presiding for the whole Africa. Is that not an insult before the African black race? That is why we are waiting. How can a vibrant youth like me and you be waiting for American youth to come and save us? How can a vibrant youth like me and you be waiting for European youth to come and save us? Meanwhile, the Europeans are the ones who put us in this mess. But we can actually save ourselves from this bondage if we can rise up. You can listen to this man telling you, we are now international beggars. African, who's supposed to be the richest, the wealthiest continent in the world, are now presented as the world beggars, international beggars. We borrow from China, we borrow from UK, we borrow from NATO, we borrow from BRICS, we borrow from anywhere we know we can borrow. Ask yourself, the money you are borrowing, what are you doing with it? Are you aware that you are borrowing money from there? Only France here, only Francophone country in Africa is paying $500 billion to only France here. Now, do you think that $500 billion will be divided to Francophone countries and they will not be doing well? You don't have any company. You have the resources, you cannot make use of it. And the youth are folding their hands. The youth are dying in Mediterranean Sea. You don't want to fight. You are waiting for a foreigner to fight for you. How can a foreigner fight for you when you cannot fight for yourself? Listen to this.
Well, I don't have to come back here anymore to help you. The help is already here. The knowledge is already here. The land is here. The sun is here. The water is here. The minerals are here. You have some of the finest minds in the world, but they're in Europe and they're in America making money while Africa suffers. Why don't we create politically stable environment and call the children of Africa back home to help build Africa? We are your children. And we will come and help. But don't expect us to come with billions of dollars when we don't have it. We're struggling in America. But you got it all right here under your foot. And you should be ashamed not to look to yourself, begging white folk to give you what you could give yourself. What I said today, which one of these countries is going to give you $20 million? America's not going to give you $20 million. You got it right here, but your disunity won't allow you to pool it. It's your fault, and you got to accept that responsibility. That is why my message is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. We got to stop blaming everything on somebody else and see what is our responsibility here.
Now, I believe you listen to the man. We can't be blaming others without doing something. Our generation have not put up any fight to liberate ourselves. This current generation of African youth have not fight to liberate themselves. We are on social media shouting, ranting, but fighting physical, coming together to fight as a black race. We are packing shit in America. We are packing shit here in Europe. We do all manner of dirty job, which why we are back home there, we cannot do it. Now, why can't we put up a fight? Let us build Africa and stop traveling around the world. If Africa is functioning today, what am I doing in Italy? Come to Italy. Italy is one of the poorest countries in Europe. But we are here strongly, trying to survive. As an African youth, the time for you to fight is now. Everything is not calling on America, calling on Europe. Europe don't want you to unite. Now, Our problem is disunity. What brings disunity? They bring Christianity for you, knowing that there is nothing good that will come out from Christianity. Christianity made you to start behaving like to be weak. The only thing the Christianity made Africa is to how to become weak. They now brought Islam in the other hand and make you to believe that when you kill 7 of your brother, there is the 7 virgins in heaven. If you don't have an access to 1 virgin here on planet Earth, who born the virgin that you are going to take in heaven? Who created the virgin for you? These are mental slavery that they use upon us. We need to put it aside and to fight for Africa. Our brothers now will now say they are reverend sisters, they are not going to marry. Our sisters will say they are reverend sisters, they are not going to marry. End of the day, what is your benefit? The people that are supposed to speaking for us are no longer speaking. They are now slaves to the European world. They are now slaves to the Americans. That is our problem. You had this man. I will repeat this video non-stopping before I will bring another video.
None of you can deny that what I'm saying is the truth. You know it's the truth. But either you won't write it, or you're too cowardly to speak it because you want some favor here or favor there. So because you can't talk, you are muzzled. I'm not. I'm a free black man. And I didn't come here looking for a handout. And I really don't think you need one. Your problem is that you think you need a handout. Everything you need is right under your foot, but you're looking everywhere else for help instead of to yourself and what you can produce for yourself. This is Africa's dilemma. You are parading yourself before the world as international beggars when you gave civilization to the world. Your problem is not America. Your problem is not Israel. Your problem is not Britain. Your problem is your disunity and your dependence on others to do for you what you could do for yourself. So I don't have to come back here anymore to help you. The help is already here. The knowledge is already here. The land is here. The sun is here. The water is here. The minerals are here. You have some of the finest minds in the world, but they're in Europe and they're in America making money while Africa suffers. Why don't we create politically stable environment and call the children of Africa back home to help build Africa? We are your children. And we will come and help. But don't expect us to come with billions of dollars when we don't have it. We're struggling in America. But you got it all right here under your foot. And you should be ashamed not to look to yourself, begging white folk to give you what you could give yourself. What I said today, which one of these countries is going to give you $20 million? America's not going to give you $20 million. You got it right here, but your disunity won't allow you to pool it. It's your fault, and you got to accept that responsibility. That is why my message is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. We got to stop blaming everything on somebody else and see what is our responsibility here.
I believe you listen to it. Now, ask yourself this question. What are we doing to free ourselves? What are African leaders doing to make sure that Africans work? What can we do to stop the people using us from slavery? How can we be dying in our own land? Now I will play you another video because this broadcast will not last more than 1 hour because I have somewhere to, I will rush to go, but I will make it very snappy, very short. I want us to listen to one of our sisters again. Then I will show you the catastrophe that is going on in Africa. Watch this video.
That keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities. The following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves.
Do you hear that?
It's quite evident that the aid...
Do you hear that questions? You as an African youth, what are you doing now? 5,000 of your own currency is just 1,000 of theirs. Why? The gold is for Africa. The diamond is for Africa. The oil is for Africa. Everything comes from Africa. Yet we are being subjected to zero because we don't know what we have. We don't know who we are. We believe in them. We are waiting for them. We have refused to fight for ourselves. Our politicians are not doing anything. And the day we realize that we can actually take the politicians out, the day we realize that the youth, the corruption eating us must stop, that day we will start making progress. Listen to this ourselves.
It is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming?
Okay.
By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West.
You hear that?
Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds. But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and striving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out. Foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance
I believe you watched the video. I believe you're listening from beginning to the end. You as an African man, instead of we to rise up against the bad leaders we have, if we can rise up against people like the leaders, the political leaders in Nigeria, why can't we make it? Why are we now choosing to become slaves? The lady asked you, instead of them to come with their colored paper called money, they came empty-handed and they took our resources. They now build NGO. They now pass the information that they now make you to believe that the African can only survive on the mercy of the Europe, on the mercy of America. Who told you that? Because the youth have not risen up. The youth of Africa are living in bondage because they live the life of I don't care. If it's happening in Ghana, the Costa d'Ivoire will fold their hands. It's none of us. Come to Europe. If you touch any European person, other European countries will come for you. But in Africa, if something is happening in Biafra land, the same way the Nigerians are killing Biafra today, Sierra Leone, Ghana, South Africa, other part of African countries fold their hands. How can Africa be great with such mentality, disunity? How can we move forward? They now pass the message to you, telling you that you are a poor man, you don't have anything, you cannot survive. There is nothing you have. You that have gold, how can't you survive? You allow French country to come to mine your gold because your country went there to borrow money. The Chinese are mining our resources because your country went there to borrow money. You as African youth, why can't you rise against that, your political leaders? We are in Europe. Most of us are washing plates. Some are distributing food, riding bicycle. You believe that getting 1,000 euro, you are enough. When you change it to your country's currency, you become a big man. For that, you don't need to fight for your freedom again. That is our problem. That is our problem. Until we realize who we are, they subject us to believe that the Europe are the people that they can give us food. They now told you story that the Biafra people are poor people. Biafra that has oil, has natural gas, has everything humanly you need on this planet Earth to have. And God bless them with wisdom and talent, human skills. They make you to believe that you don't have the capacity to do something. You become a beggar, international beggar. Ask yourself, why is pounds is the second strongest currency in the world? What did England has? What are the natural resources in England? They made you to know euro is the third strongest currency in the world. What is the natural resources of Europe? How many countries has what it takes in Europe, has natural resources in Europe that made them to have that hard currency? They made you to know that. Do you know that once Africa chased France out automatically France, you are seeing here, we drop out of world power because France is a world power today because of the natural resources in Africa. But because you are a coward, you cannot confront the reality. You cannot face the reality. You cannot say enough is enough. You believe that you can only live and survive on the mercy of the French and the Britain. And look at where it has kept us today. Are we not ashamed as an African youth? Tomorrow you will be making you will be talking and you will say, oh, Nelson Mandela is a great man. Thomas Sankara is a great man. What is he called? Martin King Luther Jr. is a great man. These people rise up to become great man. African today, which are the youth? Where is the youth that is rising up to make Africa great, to fight for Africa? Where are the youth? Martin King Luther Jr. is not a soldier before he rise for the Black America that paved way for Barack Obama to become president in America today. You as a black man in Africa, what are you doing? What are your efforts? Have you waken up? Are you only on social media? You have the natural resources, yet you are borrowing money. What is the purpose of you borrowing money from China? What is the purpose of you Africans borrowing money from NATO? What is the purpose of Africans borrowing money from EU? What is the money used for? Can't African youth start asking their leaders questions? Hold your leaders accountable. But guess what? That is a place where I blame the pastors and the imam. The pastors and the reverend fathers in Africa made African youth to believe that you can only pray for all those things to come, for manna to come from above. They have destroyed the power and make the youth to become weak. That is why I say that it will never be well for any pastor in Africa. It will never be well for any reverend fathers. All of them are criminals. Because the reverend fathers, the reverend sisters, the pastors and bishops are the tools the Europeans are using to put African youth in bondage. And when we speak this truth, none of you want to listen. You get angry. It will look like they pour hot water on you. Oh, I don't want to listen to this guy. This guy always criticizes Christians. This guy always talk down on our religion. I want to defend my faith. What is your faith? Come to Europe, they are not defending any faith. Heroes believes in reality. Heroes believes in what they can do. Even when you say you are educated, you have studied, they believe in practical. You must practicalize what you have studied before them for them to believe you. You can't present your certificate to any European, any place in Europe here, and they will not believe in you. They must put you to that engine to test what you have studied. You must put it in practical. But in Africa, they say, oh, don't ask questions. Don't just believe. They will say, oh, just believe, just pray. God will give you a good leader. God cannot give you a good leader. You are the person to choose your good leader. If the leader you have is killing you, rise, revolt against the leader, take him out. You borrow 500, they tell you that they are giving you 8 or 500 million, and they are taking 500 billion. Are you not the loser? 1 billion is times 2 of 500 million. Are you aware of this? $1 billion is times 2 of 500 million they are giving you as an aid. Now, you as an African youth, why are you silent? Why are you following the leaders that are putting you in bondage? Why? You need to know the truth. You need to reject that church. Church is evil. Christianity is evil, the same as in Islam. They use it to divide Africa. Now, when you come to Africa, they will say the only religion, once you are an African, say, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian. Once a Muslim see Christian, they forget the brotherhood. You now started fighting for religion that they brought to you. Is your forefathers a Muslim or Christian? The answer is no. They use that to divide you. They use that to remove the unity. They use that to remove the brotherhood. Meanwhile, a Muslim man from France came to Italy and he will eat with the same cup with a Christian man in Italy because they know that they are brothers. That Muslim Christian has nothing to do. They now realize themselves. But you said no. You see your problem. Can we rise up? The answer is no. Today, when you watch what is going on in Africa, they created TikTok. All the African youth now are into TikToking. They are into comedy because you don't have any future. You don't, instead of you, they now create comedies and their TikTok so that you will now turn your back on the government, so that you will not be asking questions on what you have on your natural resources. You are now focusing on the internet money. Ask yourself, by the time they finish with you, they will take that internet away. You will never see where to make money. You will now become more slave to them. That is their plan. That is why I am telling you right now to start fighting to lay the foundation for yourself. You were not listening. You were not listening. Africans must rise against the leaders now. We must rise against the political leaders. There is no democracy in Africa. There is no country in Africa that has independence. What we have is a companies under the command of the Britons and the French and the Americans. We must know this. Ask yourself, for how long are we going to continue be suffering washing plate in Europe? They told you that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. The youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Ask yourself, how old are you? Emmanuel Macron, how old is he before he becomes the president? Go to the European Parliament. Go to the Europe Parliament. You will see young boys representing the government. Come to Africans. Some are crippled. Some are using stick. Person like Paul Biya is the president of Cameroon for over 40 years. Yet, he don't want to step down. And the Americans don't want to invade Cameroon. The EU don't want to invade Cameroon. The Buhari, the Nigerian government don't want to invade Cameroon to put a democracy in that very place. Because they are not benefiting anything from Cameroon. That is why they allow Paul Biya to rule Cameroon for over 40 years and nobody is talking. Why can't Africa rise up? An attack on Niger Republic is an attack to all Africans. Africans must know this. Giorgia Meloni is the Prime Minister of Italy. Ask him, you that is a black man, you that is a black African, if you give birth to Italy, your children are not Italians. If they love you the same way they are doing, why can't Giorgia Meloni say that you as an African man, when you born your children in Italy, your new children will automatically become Italian citizen? But they said no. One of you must wait until you reach 18 years, or one of the parents must have the citizen before the child will become citizen. If they love you, they will not put that law for you. The same thing to Germany. In Germany, one of the parents must have at least 5 years working, must have contributed in paying tax for good 5 years before a child you born in Germany will become German citizen. But they are in Africa, taking our resources. And you as a black man, you don't want to rise up. You don't want to know the truth. You are still praying for Jesus that never existed to come and give you good leader. You are still praying for Allah to come and change the nation. Allah never existed anywhere. You are the one to do it by yourself. You have to. The world, no place have Jesus or Allah build any nation. You are the one to build your nation. That is the reality. Remove the mentality that God is somewhere to come and build you. God have already created you and hand everything over to you to do. If God is the one creating everything, by now you will not be having children. God will be creating children. The same way you see that anyone that is producing car will continue to produce that car for that car not to finish in the market. The moment you stop producing that car will finish. But for you to know that you are the one creating children by yourself, that is why there is a man and woman. Once they sleep and they will make children, they will have children. Do you see it? We are here to preach the gospel truth to our African brothers and sisters. In Africa, everything is prophecy. Believe in God. Believe in God. There is heaven. There is a heaven for you to go and enjoy. There is no heaven any place. Let us listen to this, our sister, again, so that you will be getting the message.
Keeps me puzzled. Despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves?
Do you hear that?
It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continue.
Do you hear the names of the organizations? Ask them, these organizations they make now, where are they getting the money they are using to help Africa? They are getting the money from Africa. Someone robbing you to help you. How can someone rob you to give you what he robbed you and he tell you that he's helping you? The Europeans are not helping us. But I don't blame them. I blame our youth. I blame the Africans for not rising up. Because if Africa have risen up to take what belongs to them, the Europeans will not be seeing them finish. We can't be taken for granted. At a point, we need to rise up to demand for our right, using the law of human rights to take Africa back. For Africans to take their continent back, we need to use the law made by the Europeans, which they called the human rights law, to take Africans back. Because they made the law. God made them to make that very law. And that's the law they made you will use to destroy them. Tell them that I say so. MAP, Eziokubundu 1 in Biafra land. We need to use the law called human rights that was made by the Britain and the rest to liberate ourselves. We must stop believing in Christianity. We must stop believing in Muslim. We must stop believing there is a Muhammad or Jesus anywhere to help us. We need to help ourselves. We need to fight. For Africans to succeed, we need to put aside the Christian and Islam out of our fight. Because the West created this in order to use it to put us down. And the more they make us to believe in Islam, the more they make us to believe in Christian, is the more they enslave us, the more they take us for granted, the more suffering we get ourselves into. I know you don't like the truth because of your belief. You were born with it. You believe that prayers is everything. No, actions need to be applied. They bring Red Cross to you. They bring all those things. Your gold in Ghana, who are people mining the gold. The Queen Elizabeth, the gold he has on her head was taken from South Africa, Sierra Leone, and the rest of African countries. Britain, the England has the largest gold reserve. Where do they got it from? They got it from the Africans. That's what makes the pounds more strong today. Why can't you rise up? Begging money, borrowing money. This is the problem we are facing today. We must rise up. Now let's listen to this video to the end.
Easily run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta.
Italian pasta. How can Italian pasta contribute? Maybe. I love the word she used there. Maybe some Italian pasta. Who are you? Do you know what is pasta while you are in Africa? Of course, no. Science and technology. The science and technology they are using, the materials they are using to build their science and technology is all come from Africa. Why can't Africa be great? Today, Africa don't know what is science and technology because they don't know what they have. They don't believe in their human skills. They don't believe in that. And that is the reason why we are suffering today. And none of us want to fight. We are going every continent to borrow money. We have turned ourselves to international beggars. And that is why, because we borrow money, we lost our value. We lost our taste. You are being treated like a trash. You are being treated like a rag. You are being treated like a public toilet that has no respect. Come to Europe. Every great country you see today that are making progress, all of them undergo revolution. Africans need to undergo revolution to take away all the political leaders we have. All of them are corrupt. They are corrupt until all of them are being taken away. We can't make it. We can't make it. We must know this. We must know this. Listen, our sister, a lot of black people have studied abroad. We have gained the knowledge. It is time for us to bring it back to Africa. It is time. Do you know that the people that Italians used to develop their place, the black Africans they used to dig their undergrounds, all of them were killed. Do they love you? They don't love you. If they love you, they would have not killed them. They could have leave them to bring such development in Africa. Why do they kill Thomas Sankara? Every African that have risen up, why are they killing them? Because they don't love you. They don't love you. They see you as just a working tools to be used to achieve their heart desires. They don't believe in you. They believe in themselves. And you, as a human being, you don't even believe in yourself. Why? You need to believe in yourself. When will Africa come together? When? Why Africans are living in bondage. Episode 3. And what African youth need to know. If African youth can start rising up now, if African youth can start coming together to fight for our freedom, it will be better for us. That is the only thing that can save us. America can save us. Joe Biden can save you. Trump can give you freedom because they believe in themselves. They don't believe in you. Their own politics is for their interests of their countries, not for your own interests. Now you get it. Now you understand the politics. The politics of today, every country play the politics of their own. Listen to our sister.
How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds.
Now, they can't even come with their colored paper. They can't even come with their pounds. They can't even come with their dollars. They can't even come with their euros. They can't even come with their monetary to come and buy our gold and diamonds and our petroleum. What do they come with? They come with Christian. They come with religion. They come with Islam. They come with gay. They come with corruption. They come with manipulation. They come with all manner of evil to Africa. They come with division. They come with hatred. They come with divide and rule. Divide and conquer. This is what the Europeans brought to Africa. And you are dissecting it. You are taking it. You are defending such as your faith. Something that brings division. Something that makes you to hate your brother. That is what they came with. Are you not ashamed of yourself as a black African youth that are defending Christianity and Islam? Are you not ashamed of yourself? Ask yourself, is Russia fighting for religion? The answer is no. Is European fighting for religion? The answer is no. Come to Africa. They are fighting for religion. Religion is the worst thing that can happen to any country, any continent, any human being on earth. That is what they use to mastermind the downfall of Africa. And they are using it today to pin us down. No matter how intelligent you are, as a Christian, you will be thinking like a bingo. You cannot do the right thing. No matter how you are educated, as a Muslim, you believe that when you kill 7 of your brothers, there is a virgin in heaven waiting for you for killing your brothers. If killing of your brothers, there is a virgin in heaven. Do you think that China will be not slaughtering their people every day to have many virgins, as many as they can? They pass such evil information to you, and the stupidity and the cowardly take it, and you accepted it. They now made the Christianity to believe that their reward is in heaven. That you don't need to be rich for you to go to heaven. You need to be poor for you to go to heaven. And I ask you, with your religion and everything you have in Africa, what have you achieved with it? India have landed in the moon. They are securing in the moon in case they want to destroy this earth. They can destroy it and take their people to the moon and start living there. They are testing to know if they can inject and make sure that a moon can be a living place for them. That is why they are planting. You might not know what these people are doing today in the moon. The moon is as large as this planet Earth, in case you don't know. There is sand and everything that you have on this planet Earth in the moon. There is water, there is everything in the moon. They will not tell you this. They will not tell you this. By the time they secured another place, they will now relocate and they will abandon you. You become a foolish person. They will use it for a sacrifice. Like I said, this message will be 1 hour. I have spent more than 1 hour. But because of the topic that is very interesting, we are going to continue at least 1 hour, 30 minutes. We end it. Let us listen to our sister. And I will give you the what the Europeans, what they are bringing to Africa. After this video, I will play you the video. You will see their results, the result of what they are bringing to Africa.
But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and thriving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth.
Okay.
The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out. Foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world
Do you hear that?
power.
Do you hear that? Without Africa, France will be slide down in the world power. They will go down. Which means the power of France lies in Africa, and there's no any African competing in the world power. Everything that made France great country today, all 99% of it came from Africa, while Africa are still in bondage. Why Africans are still in bondage? Are you not ashamed of yourself? Pay attention.
This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
Do you hear that? I believe you're listening attentively. Africans, when can we rise up? Revolution is the solution. We need to recycle. We need to gather every of our politicians and kill them. They need to be killed. Revolution for us to build Africa. That is the solution. The Europeans did it. It worked for them. That's why they are enjoying Europe today. The Americans did the same thing. We must say no to everything that the colonization brought to us, from their language to their religion. Everything needs to be taken away. That is it. Now let me play the video of what the result of what they brought to us, what they are doing to us, because our people don't reason. We don't have brain to think. We cannot reason far. We once they give us gun, we start killing ourselves. Listen, watch this. Look at the African youth. Can this thing happen in Europe? Look at the African youth. then turn us into terrorists, killing ourselves. This is a doom waiting to take place in Africa. Look at our youth. Because of bad government, bad leaders, corrupt leaders. These people supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow. Look at the leaders of tomorrow. This is what the Europeans brought to us. This is what the Americans brought to us. Look at our youth. Awaiting doom. Are you now seeing it? And there's no international journalist. International news cannot carry this. The killings in Africa, you can't see it to the world news. But if one person die in Europe, the whole news is dying. Millions of black Africans are dying on a daily basis. No news carry this. Because they don't value our life. Because we are nobody to them. Because we are nothing.
Look
at our youth. Look at our youth.
The other camps,
you see the reason why Africans need to rise up and say no to the West.
Can I come out for
These are the futures, the leaders of tomorrow. They will slaughter them. A lot of them will go to prison. They have turned them into terrorists. They have turned them into terrorists, into animals. They don't care about their life anymore. They subjected us into poverty, abject poverty, suffering. These are what the religion brought to us in the name of Islam. Key 7 and go to heaven to have 7 virgins. Is your sister among the virgins they are going to have there? Is your sister the virgin that you are going to get in heaven? Key 7 and have as you keep people and go to heaven and carry 7 virgins. Is your sister a virgin that you are going to meet in heaven? Use your brain. If there is any virgin, so because of virginity, because of what is under woman's leg, you waste your brother's life. Oh, Africa, who did this to us? Africa, who did this to us? It is funny. It is very funny that you are going to kill your brother because of woman's leg. Who in the woman? Are you not ashamed of yourself? This is what Europeans have turned our people into monsters, killing themselves. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Africans, if we are to rise up to support our military, if you are African soldier, enough of killing your brothers and sisters. If you are an African soldier, enough of serving the interests of the West. If you are a member of Boko Haram, stop killing your African brothers. Return home to fight for the betterment of Africa. If Africa is great, you can't be a Boko Haram hiding in the bush. If you are a terrorist in Africa, why are you killing your brothers? Come to Italy, they have mafians. Caramori is their mafian's name. They don't kill Italians. They fight for the betterment of Italians. We have Russian Wagner fighting for the betterment of Russia. Why are you killing your own Africans? This is the reason why I am telling you the truth. This guy, I don't know if you know I'm on air. Hello. Ade, I know you are. I'm on air. Are you aware of that? Huh? I will call you later. Now, in conclusion, let me come back to my people, my Igbo people, my Biafran people. The hour for us to rise up to fight for our freedom has come. We have not started struggle. We have not started fighting. We are still talking. Enough of the awareness. We have created awareness for Biafra enough. If you know what you can do, the time for us to fight is now. The time for us to fight is now. We must fight to restore Biafra. Biafra cannot be given us free of charge. Biafra cannot be given to us on a platter of gold. We need to restore Biafra to join the people that are going to liberate Africa. Because Africa cannot be liberated without the freedom of Biafra. Biafra is the cornerstone that will restore the humanity in Africa. That is why I am calling on every African people, if you love freedom, the time to call for the referendum, total disintegration of Nigeria, because Nigeria remains a doom, a curse to Africa. Nigeria is a cause to Africa. Nigeria is the reason Africa are suffering. Nigeria is the tools the West and America are using to put Africa in bondage. Nigeria is a stumbling block to African success. Nigeria is an enemy of progress to African at large. That is why Africans need to come together to destroy Nigeria. Believe you me, if you destroy Nigeria today, Africa will have their independence tomorrow. Destroy Nigeria today and Africa independence will come. Africa liberation will have new dimension. You leave Nigeria, you live in bondage. You protect Nigeria, you protect your bondage. You make Nigeria to stand as a Nigeria, you remain a slave to the Western countries because the France planted a president that is above 80 years there. If we want to move forward, we need to break Nigeria. It's a zoo. That country called zoo is a stumbling block to African success. And when you check around the world, you will see that Nigeria around the world is a catastrophe. It's a problem. It's a cause. Nazo, Ekuno, Ndewo, greetings from here. Optional, LP, greetings from here. Jeff Brown, I greet you. We are Biafrans, and we are the light of Africa. We are the people that once we got our independence, once our independence reaches us, African countries will get their independence because we are going to forward. We will liberate every African countries. We must stop the Europeans and Americans from taking us for granted and from mining our resources free of charge. If they want to buy it, they will pay. If they want to come to Africa, they must pass the procedures, the due process. On this note, I will say, may Chukwu Kikabiama grant us our heart desires to free ourselves. If you are a lover of freedom, the time for us to come together as a freedom fighter is now. We must take every battle to the battlefield, and we must fight. On this note, I say, may God bless you all. I remember my humble self, Mazi Achebe Paul, MAP Izioku Bundo, 1 in Biafra land. And I say, God bless Africa. God bless Biafra. God bless Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. God bless IPOB. God bless you all. I salute every IPOB member and I salute the leadership of IPOB. I salute my able leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. God bless you all and God bless you all. Remember, bless Africa. The time for African youth to rise up, to fight for what we believe in. The time is now. Let's come together and we must chase out every religious bigot in our midst. Thank you and remain blessed.